Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so happy to have you here with me today because I have a delightful guest to share with you. And she will be with us in a very short time. But first, I just want to say welcome to the show. Those of you who know this show know that we're all about change. I am a life transition coach. I help people deal with the upheaval of change because change, even if it's a welcome change, like getting married, still requires us to get used to something new. And we humans don't like the discomfort of the unfamiliar. So they come to me and I help them make change smoother and more productive. And I also am a speaker, speaking a lot on the topic of change, upheaval, helping people deal with change, saying the right thing when you don't know what to say, which is actually my latest book. And that is all about communicating with people who are dealing with change. It's a very short, concise, but incredibly helpful book that gives you actually the statements that are helpful to say and the statements that are not helpful to say. And my other book that also deals with people dealing with change is Grief. When Will This Pain Ever End? I've written one other book called Chakras, the Magnificent Seven. That's a guide to balancing and working with your chakras. Oh my goodness, we are in that holiday time and there's really so much to talk about because change is really an issue at this time of year, especially because we have memories, we have holidays of the past that we refer back to. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the holidays, but I also want to remind you that I have a free gift for you on my website, paulashaw.com. paulashaw.com. You can go there and grab this free gift called 20 Things to Say and Not to Say to People in Pain. And it's like a great cheat sheet taken from that book that I just showed you, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And it just gives you some real good, solid statements that are great and helpful in a supportive, compassionate conversation. But it also gives you that list of the don'ts, the things you don't want to say because they don't help a person feel safe and feel comfortable. So 20 Things to Say and Not to Say to People in Pain is available at paulashaw.com. And also, if you want to hear past shows, or although we are archived on every major podcast platform, including a new one called Parapalo, that's a very exciting platform. But you can also get information about being a guest or a sponsor of this show on changeitupradio.com. That's changeitupradio.com. All right, so we were starting to talk a little bit about the holidays, and they can be a very tricky time for people who are dealing with emotional pain. Now, many of you know I'm also a grief expert. I am many years, like 28 years now, down the road of working with people dealing with loss, because loss, change, grief, they all walk hand in hand, and they all create upheaval in people's lives. And that upheaval can manifest in many different ways. Sometimes it looks like extreme sadness. Sometimes it looks like overwhelm. Sometimes it's hopelessness or despair. Sometimes it's anxiety, anger. There are so many different ways that change, loss, and grief show up in our lives. So I wanted to just touch on today because you know people out there who are dealing with sadness right now, who are dealing with loss, whether it's a divorce, a loss of health, a death, a job loss. So many people dealing with job loss right now. You know people. You know someone who's having a hard time this holiday season. And the holidays are tricky for many, many reasons. They're particularly difficult for people dealing with loss. And let's briefly look at some whys. Why is it difficult for people dealing with loss? Well, for one thing, everybody else looks so happy. Everybody's posting all these great things they're doing on social media. Everybody has got parties they're lined up to go to and busy activities, maybe caroling, maybe Christmas gatherings, luncheons, and that sort of thing. And everyone else seems so happy. I don't know if any of you have ever been going through loss and sadness during the holidays, but it's really tough because you feel so alone. You feel like the only one who's defective, the only one who's feeling sad at this time of year. Another thing is that the holidays are exhausting. We all have too much to do between the shopping and the wrapping and the partying and the decorating and all of those things. There's just so much to do. And when you are dealing with loss, you already are operating at a depleted energy level. Another aspect of why the holidays are hard is that so much they seem to revolve around relationships. Families are getting together. Couples are doing things together. It seems like everybody has these great happy relationships, except maybe you, if you're the one that's dealing with loss and sadness. And finally, another reason that can be really tricky for making the holidays happy, or for not feeling so happy during the holidays, I guess is what I really should say, is that they're filled with memories. We all have memories. Even the youngest of us has a Christmas or a Hanukkah in the past that they're still talking about, or a Thanksgiving that they particularly remember fondly. And memories often include either the people, the places, or the things or circumstances that we've lost. And so those memories can stir up a lot of pain for people. So if you know someone or if you are someone in that situation this holiday season, please don't just gloss over it. Ask that person how they're doing and then really listen. Ask them, is it tough for you during the holidays this year? And listen. Too often, we just say, hey, you doing okay? And persons, they often say, oh, yeah, because they don't want to get into it and they don't think you really do either. But if you ask, and I suggest that you do, because these people need help with processing their pain, then listen. You don't have to be the super wise being. You don't have to have the answers. Just listen and support and comfort. It's that easy. And if you do those things, you can really, really do a lot to genuinely help any of your friends or loved ones who are going through tough times during the holidays. All right. We have a very lovely guest today, and she is not a representative of tough times at all. She's actually someone who stands for good times, and I want to tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Mikki Kristola, and she is the human magic behind New Fashioned. And that is something she has created that we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to tell you anymore. We're going to let her tell you. She's born and raised in the Midwest, and I love Midwest people. They're so real, aren't they? They're just the best. And she first jumped into the world of hospitality as actually a side gig to being a theater kid in high school. I certainly know about that because I have 2 theater kids as my own children. She continued in that world and pursued theater studies. She eventually moved to the Windy City to try out for the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. But she didn't get in, so she detoured back into hospitality and bartending. She actually took bartending to new heights and worked at places that are quite well known. The Varnish, which has been credited with shaping LA's craft cocktail scene, and the Streamliner, which was dubbed one of Esquire's best bars in America. Her recipes have been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Drew Lazer's Session Cocktails. So this is a woman who knows how to host a great party, I have a feeling, and who is a lovely, wonderfully fun person herself. So Mikki, come and join us and let's chat about all this hospitality world of yours and all of the cool things that you've created.
Yes, I've been doing it for so long, and I wish I could be making you drinks right now.
I know. Wouldn't it have been great if we could have been having this interview with one of your fabulous cocktails in front of us?
I know, alas. So next time I see you.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I'm going to absolutely hold you to that. So, you know what? Your bio didn't really go into what was your interest? What first sparked you wanting to create something more interesting than the average cocktail to drink?
So the background I have with craft cocktails, it's very recipe centered.
Uh-huh.
And I also have a fair amount of background in baking and cooking. So that kind of recipe making really works in my brain very well. And, if you're outside of a bar, if a lot of the bars closed this past year, which was unfortunate, getting a great cocktail and just having that experience after whatever kind of day you've had was missing for a lot of people. And even without bars being closed, just being on the road or being at home, I kind of thought that opportunity was missed for a lot of people because it does take a lot of training and knowledge to make craft cocktails. There's lots of recipes available, but not everyone is a baker. Not everyone can follow recipes to no detriment to them. There's people that do that, people that don't. So I made these things called a dry cocktail, and they come in little packs, and you simply need to add it with your choice of spirit, alcohol, and ice, and you can take your cocktail anywhere you want to go. At home.
Was it the pandemic that inspired you to do that?
It was actually before the pandemic. The Streamliner, the bar that I had opened, we had toyed with the idea of what the future of cocktails looks like. And we did a lot of pre-batching and pre-making things so that they're just quick and ready to serve. And that's actually what a lot of bars pivoted to during the pandemic. So that was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take that a little further, and why are we looking at liquids at all? Liquids are so binding and constraining and messy and sticky. And how is there a different way to look at this? What's the next future of cocktails? So that's what I think I've done. I don't know.
And New Fashioned is actually, it's a little envelope, and the mix is a powder, right?
Correct. New Fashioned, it's kind of a play on an Old Fashioned, which is the first cocktail we started with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll hold up the little packet if you want.
Yes, because some of us are seeing video.
Okay. So
see, that fits like so perfectly into a woman's purse, even an evening purse.
It's very tiny.
Yes.
So this tears open, and you mix it. You can. Whiskey is a classic old-fashioned, a bourbon, but you can mix it with anything: Scotch, tequila, rye, rum.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's delicious in all of them.
Oh, that's so cool.
I've done a lot of research.
I was going to say the field study must have been a bitch, huh, Mikki?
Yeah, it really was.
I just think this is such a brilliant idea, especially, like if you're traveling and you're pretty picky about what you drink. Oftentimes, if you go into a hotel, in the fridge, they have little bottles of alcohol. But if there's any kind of a cocktail mix, it's that horrible syrupy, too sweet stuff usually.
Yes.
And with your little envelope, which is the other thing that's great, is you throw that in a suitcase. You never have to worry about it spilling on anything.
Correct.
It's totally protected and closed, and it's just there, ready for you when you are ready to have your cocktail.
Yeah.
It's just so perfect. So perfect. You know what, Mikki? We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, let us pursue you and what you're doing and how you are letting the world know about new fashion.
Sure.
So we will be right back. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw and my guest, Mikki Kristola. She is the creator slash inventor slash genius slash magician who has created a new kind of dry cocktail. Now, if you're just joining us, don't panic. It isn't a cocktail you drink dry, but it's a cocktail you make from a powder that is very finely tuned, so to speak, that has all the all the perfect ingredients to make a really delicious cocktail. And I want to say, Mikki, we didn't mention this yet. I was the lucky recipient of a couple of envelopes of your margarita mix.
Yes.
And, I have to say in all humility, I'm pretty famous for a Paularita that I have developed, which is a delicious margarita that's mainly made from fresh squeezed lime juice, tequila, a little splash of agave, though now I'm experimenting with doing it with monk fruit for people who are on special food plans or dieting. And then I put some fresh chopped cilantro and fresh sliced jalapeno and shake it up in a martini shaker. Delicious. Well, guess what is my favorite margarita next to that one? Yours.
Is it the new Fashion Margarita?
Yes. Surprise!
Yay!
But seriously, I was at a party where the first one was mixed for the person I was with. And I said, let me just take a little sip of that because I was already drinking some wine. I was blown away. It is very, very tasty. And I'm sure our listeners and myself are wondering, what's the process? How do you have any idea what to put in it? And then how does it turn into a powder?
So for the margarita, deciding on the flavor profile of that is kind of breaking down what I wanted a classic margarita to taste like. So for you prefer agave. For me, I think I like something a little drier. So it's, the spirit, lime juice, and like an orange Cointreau, like an orange flavored liqueur.
Yeah, that's nice.
So with those flavors, I source dry ingredients like the margarita. It's a little bit bigger than the old fashioned, but it has blood orange powder, because I wanted to bring in that Cointreau flavor, and it also gives it a beautiful pink hue. So we have it's a pink margarita.
It is. It's beautiful.
And we have limited ingredients. It's all natural fruits. So there is a little bit of pectin in there. Really bright, condensed, intense flavors. So the ice that you add is your dilution and your chillability, your temperature control. And yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
That does, but I mean, did you work with a team of scientists to figure this out? How do you, or did you just figure it all out?
Yeah, it's just me tinkering with recipes, seeing what works.
That is amazing. I don't think the average person could just figure out what works. I have a feeling that your years of experience, your real understanding of what flavors do what in a cocktail, because I could never, in fact, last week I was at a really wonderful restaurant I am going to shout out called Madison on Park. It's in University Heights here in San Diego. It was such a cool restaurant, had that kind of New York feeling. There was live music, jazz band, and it's open air on both ends, but very interesting lighting inside. And the cocktail menu was one of the most interesting I've seen in a while. And I'm looking at cocktails, and there are things like blueberry and lemon juice and this thing and that thing. And I'm like, what? And maybe 2 or 3 kinds of liquor in it. And I'm kind of a purist, it's either silver tequila or Ciroc vodka, or, I'm not very imaginative when it comes to mixing things into it. And I'm sure that's because I wouldn't tend to do it at home for myself. And I've never had your experience. But I think you brought to this creation of yours many years of trying different things in drinks, and you were part of the craft cocktail pioneers, shall we say. So I think you bring something very special to what you do, Mikki.
Yes. I've been in hospitality for about 20 years, maybe a little bit more. And I've been making the craft cocktails stuff for about 10 years. So before that, it's just, it wasn't this. But yeah, I do think I know a little bit about how flavors work based on my baking experiences and making the cocktails that I'm really proud of how it turned out.
Is there a classic definition of a craft cocktail versus a regular cocktail? Is there a way there that a cocktail is defined as a craft cocktail?
I don't think so. I mean, there's traditional, but I don't believe that makes it craft. Also, I don't think that just throwing a kitchen sink in a glass makes it craft either.
Yeah, I have a feeling. That's like I used to do watercolor class, and my watercolor teacher, after my first, if you've ever done watercolors, if you put too many colors in too soon, it turns into this horrible gray mishmash of something terrible to look at. So I have a feeling what you're saying is if you throw too much stuff in and don't know what you're doing, what you end up with may not be very drinkable at all.
Yeah, and it's like nothing shines in it, and it's just too much.
I love the way you put that. Nothing shines in it. And so I was just wondering if there were a minimum number of ingredients that make it craft, or is it just, I guess it just implies that you've done something unique. You've put things together in a new way. Maybe that should be our definition of craft cocktails.
Yeah. I mean, they say a cocktail has to have a minimum of 3 ingredients, but I mean, a martini is just vermouth and spirit, or sometimes just cold vodka.
True, very true. One of my favorite ways, though, there are those olives, and we have such choices in olives these days.
Oh yes, you got to have a snack.
Right, exactly. I said to the server at this restaurant I was telling you about, because I finally ended up going with the martini because I tried one of their unique ones and it was a little too sweet for me. And I said, so we've narrowed down the vodka. And then I said, so what kinds of olives do you have to dazzle me with? And he said, oh, some very special pimento olives. I said, okay, let's have 3 of those.
All right. I'll take them.
Yeah, I'll take them. So, Mikki, if people want to try these dry cocktails, or I'm thinking like people who travel a lot in their work, oh my goodness, what a treat for them to be able to have an envelope of a cocktail they know that's going to be delicious and be able to take that with them when they travel.
Yeah.
If people want to get them, and I know they're beautifully boxed, can you show our viewers, listeners, I'm sorry, you won't get to see it.
I want to do no glare here. So each box comes with 7 of these.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you hold it a little closer to the camera?
Sure.
There we go. Now we can see it. It's a lovely, it looks like it was designed by an artist. It's like a piece of art, this beautiful box. And by the way, what a great holiday gift for somebody.
It's perfect. It'll fit in a stocking. I've tried it. And we are doing free gift wrapping for the holidays.
Oh, my
because
goodness.
I love wrapping gifts. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for all of you.
Oh, good for you. So how do people get this if they want to? In fact, I'm thinking right now of all the people on my list I can check off with a box of these dry cocktails.
We have a website. It's www.thedrycocktail.com. And
thedrycocktail.com.
The Dry Cocktail. We have an Instagram, which will lead you to all that information. And if you want to follow us as well, that's at The Dry Cocktail.
Okay.
And we're also available at a couple brick and mortar stores around Southern California. They're at Hilo Liquor in Culver City. Mm-hmm. And I believe they have them at Long Beach as well. And Keg and Bottle in the San Diego area.
Okay. And is your plan for the future to sell mostly online, or are you going to go into more brick and mortar locations?
I'd love to have it in more brick and mortar because I feel like just touching something and it's so hard to see what things are online.
Yes.
So just, having it in your hand, I think kind of means a lot. It does for me as a consumer.
Yes.
I buy a lot online as well. But,
I think everybody does buy a lot online, but I'm with you. Certain things I just want to see, touch, taste, or try on before I purchase them. And I think I love the idea. I think we should set our sights on some huge chain like Bevmo.
Yeah.
Right? Why not?
Bevmo, if you're listening.
That's right.
We've sent you stuff.
Oh, good. Well, I think
we're waiting to hear back.
Well, my listeners know that I'm one of the pioneers in the field of energy psychology. So I'm all about putting the energy out there. So right now we officially are putting out the energy that we want Bevmo interested in new fashion dry cocktails. I think it's a natural for them, especially at the holiday season.
Oh, yeah. I think it's such a great gift to give this to someone and their favorite spirit and let them decide when and how they want to drink it.
Mm-hmm. I love that idea. I love that idea, Mikki. I think we've just planted some seeds. And I suppose that right now, or these days, now that you've started this business that is going to just blossom and grow, I'm sure, is this taking up all your time, or are you still working on your acting chops?
This is this is it. This is my all the time.
Busy girl. Well, we're happy about that. And can we get a sneak peek of the next cocktail you're working on?
Not yet, but I will say I'm deciding between about 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. So I want you to make me a promise. When you get your contract with Bevmo and your next cocktail's ready to go, you'll call me and we'll have you back on the show. So we'll be the first to know.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Deal.
Done.
Mikki, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing this wonderful, fun topic with us and this incredible creation that you have, and a delicious creation, I might say too. So one more time, let's give our listeners the contact info or where they can go to order dry cocktails or to learn more.
Sure. Our website is www.thedrycocktail.com. Mm-hmm. Our Instagram is @thedrycocktail. And I guess we're on Facebook too, Facebook @thedrycocktail. So give us a like. We're always putting stuff out there, and get your boxes for the holidays.
Oh, yes, definitely do that. I'm going to be on that website as soon as we're done. I've got things to order.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mikki. I hope you have beautiful holidays. Thank you for contributing to the joy of the holidays for the rest of us.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you to my listeners. Remember, you can hear Change It Up Radio on every major podcast platform, including iHeartRadio and Blog Talk Radio, and Podopolo, the latest platform that's really unique. So we will see you next week. I do want to say in summary, since our theme this fall and into the winter season has been resilience, let's just tie this all together, Mikki. Here was a woman who started out wanting to be a Shakespearean actor, and along the way, her resilience and her way to find a new way to do things has now turned her into the creator of something really unique called a dry cocktail. That is resilience, and that's finding a way to go forward, create something new, and not be stopped. Love it, Mikki. Love it. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for all of you for being here, and happy holidays. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.